Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering the Rog Harpe Ace Extreme from Asus. This is obviously the enthusiast side of the market, and it's going to have that enthusiast price. The mouse does come in at $250, but it is, I would say, the first of its kind, and the mouse that has unquestionably unparalleled click feel quality on mouse 1 and mouse 2 and the side buttons, even the scroll wheel. I think they have absolutely knocked out of the park the build quality of this mouse. The carbon fiber composite, I think, is unique. When you first use the mouse, you kind of get this impression or this sense that the carbon fiber material almost kind of feels like a really nice plastic with a nice coating. And you really soon realize that it's really unique in and of itself. It almost feels like a super silky mat that just never gets moist, never gets wet, and doesn't have that slippery effect over time when it begins to build up moisture or any accumulation of water on the top shell. This just wicks away moisture, and the coating or feeling of that carbon fiber composite is just so interesting, so unique and nice. It really is unquestionably one of the nicest builds that I have ever used on a mouse to date. I'm going to show you guys the build quality since we're on that topic, and then let's get into its internals and its overall performance. And you guys have already seen a review from me of the Rog Harpe, or the original Rog Harpe Ace. So we don't have to go into too much shape comparisons, but I'll show it to you guys next to some of the other large mice in my arsenal. When you start using the Rog Harpe Ace Extreme, you really begin to notice the difference in the feel, the difference in the integrity of mouse 1 and mouse 2. It just feels different than any other magnesium or plastic mouse. The side buttons, I can say, are some of the best I have used on the market. The tactility here, the poppiness, the very ease of use of just hitting mouse 4 and mouse 5, some of the best that I have used on the market to date. And again, like literally no pre-travel, and the post-travel is just non-existent except on the very, very bottom of mouse 4, and it is like beyond minimal. The side flex on mouse 1 and mouse 2 is like, I mean, just literally non-existent. And pre and post-travel, there's a little bit of pre-travel, but the switch, the carbon fiber is sitting like right on the switch. So there's almost no pre-travel, and then post-travel, you can see because that bottom base is so close to mouse 1 and mouse 2, there's basically no post-travel. The scroll wheel, you can see, is a little bit recessed, right? So only the top, just like comparing it to a G Pro Superlight, you can see how much the scroll wheel sticks out on the Superlight in comparison to the Rog Harpe Ace. And because it's a little bit recessed in there and like super tight within that carbon fiber composite, the scroll wheel has no wiggle side to side. It is very, very firm in place. So scrolling up and down and even spamming mouse 3, which is very spammable, it just feels really locked in, and it makes all the difference compared to almost every other mouse in my top 5 right now. So I would say what you can expect from this, if this is the same build quality that all of you guys are going to get, you will have the best click experience that I have personally ever had on a mouse in the market to date. The side buttons are S tier, the mouse 1 and mouse 2 are S tier, and the switch not only has very consistent force to actuate from the bottom of the carbon fiber all the way to the top, but just the sound and the feel of both of those switches feel so good in this mouse that it is really just between the feeling of that carbon fiber going and actuating the switch and the switch itself. I think it's some of the best click feel on the market ever. And the top shell is extremely strong. You're not going to budge this thing at all. The only flex is on the bottom shell because it's not carbon fiber. And I've kind of had this stuff off to the side, but you can see the mouse really does come in a super, super nice box. You get the full, kind of luxurious unboxing experience. The mouse sits right here. It does have a nice, pretty interesting carrying case here it's pretty minimal, and you can see the mouse would fit right in here, and you've got room for your cable, your dongle, etc. So it does come with a nice carrying case, comes with a mouse stand, and then some of the additional goodies in the box, we'll get to these here, but I believe it comes with Gorilla Glass skates like the Viper Mini Signature Edition did, but extra PTFE skates, the Gorilla Glass skates, you've got mouse grips, and then, of course, all of your manuals, some wipes there when you are removing or applying skates, and then some additional manuals that do describe and go over the onboard functionality. For this mouse, you don't need drivers. You can change everything utilizing the mouse itself, so hertz pulling rate, lift-off distance, etc. So the mouse is really packing a lot of what people are looking for nowadays, the market trends. It's got a rare material on the market right now, especially one, again, it's the only one without any holes or cutouts. And in terms of the sensor, it is using that ROG Aimpoint Pro sensor. I'm assuming that's just their branded variation of the 3950 sensor. It's got the 8K pulling rate, and it has optical switches that, again, are implemented very well. So it's got the low click latency. It's got a really nice sensor, and Asus is pretty quick with firmware updates, so it's packing a lot to like. And when you're looking for a mouse at $250, I think obviously you're looking for something that's going to push your performance further. And as good as carbon fiber feels on this mouse, as good as all the clicks feel, it's really going to boil down to your shape preference. The mouse is rather on the long side, and it does have a rear flare that kind of goes out, but it does come right back in, kind of like a U shape on the sides. So once you get up to the top, depending on your hand size, the grip width won't feel too narrow, but it is a mouse that is a little bit more narrow than something like the G Pro Superlight or the B-Stex Max. So really, it's great in terms of its overall feel, but again, at $250, I think it's really going to boil down to whether or not the shape is going to work for you, and that's what you need to focus on when you're looking for a mouse at this price range. For me, the shape works. It feels good. I liked the original. I like this one. And it's just a solid performer. And I do bring up the fact that Asus does kind of update their firmware pretty quickly and rapidly. If there's ever any issues with like user feedback, usually they fix it pretty quickly. Since I've been testing the mouse, I've already received one firmware update. But with all good things, there is still only one issue that I ran into. And it could be that I'm on an experimental version of Windows, but for some reason when I go to 8K hertz polling, every once in a while the mouse will randomly turn off by itself, and I will have to flick the mouse off and back on to 2.4 wireless. It happens sporadically, even with the newest firmware. I've let them know I'm sure there's going to be a fix, but again, it could just be that I'm on an experimental version of Windows, so take that for what it is. Overall, the mouse is exceptional in terms of its overall build quality and performance, and even at 4K and 1K, the mouse feels really good in-game. So that's all I've got, guys, for the ROG Harpe Ace Extreme. Loved my time with it, and it's definitely going to be something in my rotation. Until next time, guys, take it easy, and I will see you guys in the next review. Peace.